and every friend you introduce with £50 of M&S vouchers. You can recommend as many friends as you like, so there's no end to the amount of vouchers you can get. Just get your friends to join Sky by calling 08442 410 101. Offer ends 31st of March.
This is Sky Sports Live.
There's a choice of live action tonight on Sky Sports. There's cricket with more from the first test between New Zealand and England at 9 o'clock on Sky Sports 1. There's Premier League darts, which includes Raymond van Barneveld against Phil Taylor, over on Sky Sports 2 now. But here it's Varsity Rugby League as Oxford take on Cambridge on Sky Sports 3. Oxford University take on Cambridge here at the Stoop in the 28th Rugby League Varsity match. At stake is the KJ Lee Trophy and the small matter of their university's honour. It's a fixture that attracts many former students who meet up pre-match at the traditional dinner, where they're entertained by Sky Sports' very own student of the game, Phil Clark. And before that, there was the old boys game, which, if you believe in omens, was won narrowly by Cambridge. But now it's on to the main event, and this is how Oxford University line up, with Charlie Morris at fullback, Paul O'Connor, Tim Carpenter, Pete Forster, James Batstone, Tom Waterfield and Tom Muir. In the forwards for the Dark Blues, James Collin, Will Avery, Anthony Bradley, George Smybert, Danny O'Driscoll and the captain Simon Dewsbury. On the bench, Andy Mowat, Charlie Rowe, Dave Auld and Hugh McCormick. The coach is Dan Garbett. For Cambridge, Max Stetchman is at fullback, Ali Glass, Mark Sweeney, Freddie Humphries, Rupert Wingate Saul, Jamie Shaw Stewart and George Sykes. In the forwards, Luke Tyson, James Shearman, the captain, Josh Randall, Carl Schroeder, Ignacio Quintana and Matt Bray at loose forward. On the bench, Alfie Weston, Paddy Hunt, Paul Dower and Ian Wiskard. The coach is John Evans. Well, the two sides enter the arena at the Stoop. They've already had one, well, they've had two standoffs. They had the old boys game, which, as I said, Cambridge won. They also had a little dispute over who was having which dressing room, because Cambridge was supposed to be in the home dressing room, but they arrived to find that Oxford already occupying it. So there was a period of negotiation, a bit of a standoff, and eventually Oxford vacated it to make way for the light blues. There they are, looking to avenge last year's narrow defeat. Ben Thaler was in charge of that, and he's in charge of this one again here tonight. Did such a good job, Ben Thaler, that he's got the gig again. And as I said, Cambridge very fired up for this, because they lost the game narrowly last year. Simon Dewsbury there rallying his Oxford troops and defending the trophy. So expect plenty of fire and brimstone and plenty of points as well, because these two sides have been scoring plenty of points in their student games and their warm-up games. And Cambridge going into the game possibly narrow favourites, but it is very hard to pick a winner in this one. It's an unpredictable fixture. Last year, a narrow victory for Oxford. The year before, Cambridge thumping them 44-0. The year before that, there was only a point in it. How close will it be tonight? Well, it's a wonderful evening at the Stoop. Very calm conditions, not a breath of wind, no rain. They couldn't really ask for more out there. And it's Oxford in possession, with James Batstone taking the ball up, and you can expect some pretty ferocious defence from Cambridge. They pride themselves on the tenacity of their defence. Well, if you were watching Boots and All this week, you'll have noticed that Barry McDermott and Terry O'Connor have spent a bit of time in the rival camps. Barry with the Dark Blues, who are in possession at the moment. Terry was with the Light Blues, and they're now firmly in those respective camps, so I expect you to be suitably biased tonight.
No, not from me, Bill. We also won the toss today, so everything's going Cambridge's way, and hopefully the game will go their way. But they're looking for a big physical start. They know that Oxford have got 3 giants of men playing against them, and they're looking to slow them down. And this is where Cambridge are going to be very dangerous, because they've got a tremendous back 3.
Yeah, guys, keep coming.
We've seen some strong defence already from both sides. The hits going in, they really are fired up. Dewsbury leading the way for his side there. Those knees firmly strapped, and he is carrying 1 or 2 knocks, isn't he, Barry?
He is, but Simon Dewsbury's actually the kicker. Kicks off and kicks for goals, and he's very potent with that weapon. But you just look at the passion shown by both sides in their opening set of 6. Both sets of players looking to come off with a couple of shots. That's going to calm it down as we see another one there, fantastic. That's going to calm down as the game goes along, and it's going to be a game full of lots and lots of points scored.
Shaw Stewart with the kick, and there's Charlie Morris at full-back for the Dark Blues to run the ball back. Not the biggest of full-backs, Charlie Morris, but a very competitive player. Batstow now takes the ball up for the Dark Blues. Predictably known as Batman to his teammates, James Batstow. Well, that was a strong run from James Collins, but equally fiercely met by the Light Blues.
There's some massive shots going in from the Cambridge set, and that looked forward, doesn't it?
It's the first error of the game.
That's maybe an indication of the level of intensity in defence. Not choosing to go back the full 10 metres and wants to get over that advantage line as quick as he can, and just causes his hooker to, unfortunately, throw the ball forward.
Will Avery kicking himself for that.
Already, Bill, you can see the sledging going on, but as in all big derby games, it's all about building pressure and being patient, and that's what John Evans has been instilling in the Cambridge team today. He just wants them to go out there, complete the sets, and get down in the Oxford half.
So it's Cambridge with the first opportunity, really, to examine this Oxford defence. Sweeney is tackled about 30 metres out. Oh, there's a big hit from Dewsbury. He's putting himself about early on in this game. Here goes the Cambridge captain, James Shearman. Good run from him. Sykes weighing up the options, decides to go himself. Sykes, he's tackled by O'Driscoll for Oxford. That's the 5th tackle. What's the kick like from Shaw Stewart? Decides to take him on himself, and that'll be the turnover. A bit of a waste of an opportunity there from Cambridge.
We had the numbers out wide to the left, but just decided to go there, chanced his arm, thinking it was there, but it's still a good set. We're still down here. All the Cambridge team have got to do is get off the line, the first 3 steps.
Baxton seeing plenty of action early on. Well, as you can see, 27 games played so far, and Oxford with the advantage. Certain who's going to get the advantage tonight.
That's good width from Oxford on their own line, although the skill level needs to be a little bit better than that if they're going to play that kind of rugby league. But Oxford not afraid to show the ball some air, giving away a bit of possession, definitely position as they put the scrum down on the 20-metre line. Not the best pass, put pressure on his teammate. Let's see what Oxford can do in defence.
Dan Garbutt, who also coaches for Harlequins here at the Stoop in their scholarship scheme, former coach of Gloucester Warriors as well, so pretty experienced at this level of the game, the Oxford coach, but his side under pressure at the moment. And there is his opposite number, John Evans, from St Helens, but very much part of the fabric of Cambridge Rugby League. Has been for 9 years or so now, and it's his side on the attack. The ball goes backwards, but that is knocked on and belted upfield, but Cambridge will get the ball back now. And Ben Thaler saying that Oxford have had plenty advantage there, and they'll be back to 6, so that is a let-off for Cambridge, really. They retain possession.
It is, and this full-back that Cambridge have got, Max Stretchman, he can pull something out of the bag. He's exciting, and he's probably the strike player that they'll look to come up with a big play for him. And if Oxford don't push on them kick chases, he'll punish them.
Ignacio Quintana Alonso The Spaniard in the Cambridge ranks takes the ball up. Now it's Luke Tyson, and Tyson punching his way forward for Cambridge. They're dominating the field at the moment, the light blues. It's with Matt Bray, the Cumbrian, try-scorer in this fixture last year. He's still going strongly, Bray. Now then, is the kick better on this time? Sykes all very nearly intercepted there, but manages to get the kick in. It's not a bad one. They're all chasing it, and it's picked up by Batstone. He did well there, the winger.
This is the fourth set of 6 that Oxford will have to endure. They've come up with a couple of errors and gambled on that, but that's an excellent kick with an even better kick chase. It's the winger Barstone who does really well. Had no option really, just had to take the tackle.
Batman to the rescue there for Oxford. That's a good dropout.
Good distance on that, Bill.
Great distance, and James Collins trundling back all the way to his own 20-metre line and then turns and builds up a head of steam, only to be met by Tom Waterfield. So Cambridge from deep in their own half with Ali Glass, who has the distinction of playing rugby union for Swaziland in South Africa. And now he's playing Varsity Rugby League for Cambridge here at the Stoop. On the attack. Quintana Alonso felt that one. Around the shoulder, said Ben Thaler. Shearman, they're keeping it simple, are the light blues. Matt Bray again.
Oxford being very physical, but unfortunately not controlling the route, and consequently they haven't got an organised defensive line, and that's where the main trouble's coming from.
Batstone with time to gather that ball. There's a dark blues player down. It's James Collins, I think, who's just making his way back to the defensive line. That's good work from Morris. Making good ground for Oxford there. Now here goes the little hooker, Will Avery, most upset to find in tonight's match programme that he was listed at 5'4". He points out that he's 5'7".
I'm not sure about that, Bill.
He's a diminutive figure, you could put it that way, but what he lacks in height, he makes up for in enthusiasm for this dark blues side. And they're running it now. It's a great ball, and Carpenter steaming onto that. He's got the man outside him, and Batstone will get the first try of the game. Well, he's been everywhere so far for Oxford tonight, normally in defence at the other end of the field. And what a start, well, what a breakout for this Oxford side. Out of nothing, really.
They've been threatening to do this all night. It's just a great ball there. We've got Humphreys that could just come out the line, got caught out, and we've got Tim Carpenter, who went through passed the ball on to James Batstone and just had the speed to go out there. Really against the play. Everything's been going Cambridge's way. But here you can see, they just shoot out to the line. Shoot out the line, miss all the plays, just easy. Draw the fullback, gives it to James Batstone, who just hugs the touchline and dives over them near the sticks.
And the conversion from Tom Muir is a success. And so Oxford, who'd been under the cosh early on, have broken out of the defensive shackles that Cambridge had on them and taken the lead.
They did a great job then, like I said, 3 or 4, maybe even 5 defensive sets. And the one time, in fact, I'm not sure, I think they was almost on the 40-metre line. There was a fantastic cut-out pass from Tom Muir, just found the centre, Tim Carpenter, who just pinned his ears back, drew the full-back, and again, a beautiful ball to James Batstone.
The restart, well,
it might have been served well to let
out on the full, I think.
I think you saw a slight breath of relief there. I don't think he was so sure.
That looked very marginal.
Go down, guys.
And the touch judge got it right.
Actually, clever play from Danny O'Driscoll, that, wasn't it? Very clever play, just to knowing where he was on the pitch, but this is a mistake by Oxford.
One move!
Failed to kick to touch, giving Cambridge the possession back.
Fine, 2. Clear, Marcus!
So Oxford on the defensive now. Here come Cambridge.
3, clear!
30 metres as Ali Glass takes the ball infield. Now it's with Josh Randall, survivor of last year's game, and Shearman knocked that on, says referee Ben Thaler.
I'm still a bit concerned about Oxford's actual contest on the floor, contest around the ruck. There's a lot of hands-on. You're never going to get any weight or any dominance with just a hand on the shoulder, but an error to let Oxford and giving them an opportunity in their opponent's half.
I think, Terry, with your Cambridge colours on, you're disputing that decision.
Yes, I was. Obviously, the ref got it right there on the second replay, but Cambridge are after that big lift at the minute as Dewsbury gets the ball away.
And that'll be another knock-on. The offload from Tom Waterfield, and Carpenter couldn't take it.
Cool down, let him get away.
No, the Cambridge, John Evans has been saying before the game that he wants to target Dewsbury as much as he can, because he wants to take all the energy out of him, because he is the big player for Oxford, who they look to come up with that magical play.
Well, it's Cambridge in possession. Shaw Stewart making the yards. Dewsbury has only played one game this year, in fact, because of the injury problems he's had, but they do rely a lot on him.
Markers, guys! Well
Got a
done.
good rugby league brain, as you'd expect with the name of Dewsbury.
3. Get off.
Now it's with Luke Tyson, one of the new recruits to this Cambridge cause. Tyson looking to even the scoreline here. Oxford ahead by 6 points to 0 at the moment. Shearman, that's a good ball from him to Collins, and Collins with 2 on his back. Makes good yards, but that's the 5th tackle.
They're making a lot of yards, Bill, and that's because every time that they take the ball, they're landing on the front, getting the quick play the balls. As your team, see Niggy there.
It's back to one, and they keep it alive, and they didn't need to. Ignacio Quintana Alonso is the culprit there.
He started off very well, though. He's leading the champs, but here he's deemed to charge that down. But just looking for that big play, losing the ball, Oxford's ball.
So it's Oxford in possession now, and that's good defence from Cambridge, driving Pete Forster back in the tackle. Well, they broke out of defence last time. Here goes Charlie Morris.
2, number 8. Keep coming.
Good sniping run from the Harrovian fullback, Morris, and then Paul O'Connor.
Get up.
Avery now. Muir. Here is Dewsbury, and again they're quickly onto Dewsbury. Dewsbury offloads. It's picked up by George Smybert, the Oxford University president.
Again, Oxford would win. We've talked about Simon Dewsbury. They want to get the ball into his hands as quick as they can on the fringes. They realise he's a big, tall player, and running against smaller opponents, he's going to get that ball away. But Oxford so far looking to use that, Cambridge looking to combat it.
It's be Dewsbury with the kick. He's lying deep. He's got a big boot on him, and that is a monster kick downfield. And it is a 40-20, I think. And he's got head and feed for his side with that kick. It was a heck of a boot from Simon Dewsbury. No wonder they're so concerned about keeping him on the field and about his fitness. He's in his 3rd varsity match, Simon Dewsbury. Lost in 2005 and in 2006. Missed last year's victory, so he's desperate to be on the winning side here tonight, and his side are in the lead at the moment. Carpenter is tackled. Cambridge under pressure here. The ball out wide. Batstone couldn't get there. It was a bad pass. He was on for his 2nd if they could have found him, but it was a wild pass, and Dan Garbett ruining a missed opportunity for his side there.
It's Carpenter who initially cuts a good line, gets a one-legged tackle, and it's Tom Waterfield, it's Tom Waterfield looking for the outside play when he did have 2 or 3 players in the screen. Not sure whether the short ball would have been the better option.
So a let-off for Cambridge there. They've conceded the only try of the night. That's for Batstone. And now it's Oxford trying to pin the light blues down here at this end of the field. And Cambridge with some work to do in the face of some pretty determined defence. Danny O'Driscoll, his father John, a British Lion and Ireland Rugby Union international.
4. Come on. Go.
3 tackles gone. Carl Schroeder now. Very exotic makeup of these two sides. You got a Spaniard out there, Carl Schroeder, with German ancestry. Charlie Morris there, former Harrow pupil, almost breaking through. Shearman with the tackle for Cambridge. That's good work.
That's good skill.
Avery it was. Muir. Here is Dewsbury. Dewsbury with a great line. He's got support if he can find it. He's looking for that support. It was Paul O'Connor. The ball was dropping towards his feet. It should have been given to him earlier, I fancy, but a great break from Dewsbury.
He's having a wow of a game, Dewsbury. He's the go-to player, but maybe just had to play the ball over. I think Cambridge have got to really look at themselves because they're defending really tight, but when you start getting into your own territory, you've got to pull a bit wider and be aware of your surroundings. Because at the minute, Oxford seem to be just getting into them with 2 or 3 players, then looking to play on the edge of what is a tight Cambridge defence.
You're worried about your boys, aren't you?
I am very worried about them.
Happy with the way your boys are going?
Absolutely. We have a private bet, me and O'Connor. I won't reveal the fourth.
Oh, that was high. That was too high. And not surprisingly, Max Stetchman didn't think very much of that tackle from James Collins.
I won't reveal the forfeit just yet, but here we go. Big shot. Possibly not bent his back enough.
It's a derby game, that's what you want, big shots.
I don't think it's...
Maybe not like that, but...
You've been advising this Oxford side?
I've been advising him. He's had a bad wrist, James Collins, last week.
I did tell the Cambridge boys, actually, all you've got to do is ride the first 20 minutes, because all they'll be doing is coming out swinging the big arms. If Barry McDermott had anything to do with it.
But it's Barry McDermott's Dark Blues who are leading by 6 points to 0 at the moment.
Absolutely.
Don't worry, Bill.
They should have had another try down that end.
Bill, don't worry, they didn't get the try. They're 6-0 up, 16 minutes gone. There's still 64 to go. That's my Cambridge education that got that then.
Well,
Hold it. Go.
it's Cambridge in possession at the moment.
Here we go, we've lost Sam Gluck, but we've got Whiskered.
Clear!
He's the big go-to, he's the impact player that Cambridge are looking for now to come on and make a bit of a stance on this Oxford pack.
Blonde-heady and Whiskered playing that ball. Yes, the legendary Sam Gluck no longer available for this varsity match, but he's now a practicing medic, but he did take part in the old boys game, and apparently he was just as tough to tackle and to stop. And he's just as round. It's Cambridge on the attack. Whiskered again.
Wait for the foot. 5.
Here's the little grabber kick, and again Morris is under pressure. He does well there, but it's another great kick from Sykes.
Cambridge had good numbers on the outside. There was only the winger Barstone. As we see here, he's dropped right back on the line. There's 2 Cambridge players just on the far left of the screen with one about to come in. Numbers, good set of hands. I think they'd have been asking some questions.
Well, Jamie Shaw-Stewart on the follow-up, the kick from George Sykes. The dropout, well, Shaw-Stewart eventually gets a hold of it. He went backwards, says Ben Thaler. He gets to his feet and plays the ball. The tackle from Will Avery for Oxford. Here's Whiskered again.
3. On his line, corner, mate. Well done.
Cambridge now with Schroeder. Takes the ball in, the Oxford defence standing firm.
Clear. Hold it. Marcus. Good.
Coming down the short side with Jamie Shaw-Stewart. That's the 5th tackle. It'll be another kick, and Sykes puts his hand up. He wants the ball. He decides to run it himself, but that was the wrong option. Nobody else was on the same wavelength. Decided to take him on himself, but it came to nothing. Well, plenty of interested spectators here. There's quite a few of the Harlequins players are here tonight. So too is the former Harlequins man, Ian Lenigan, now of course Wigan Warriors owner. He's with Ben Pro downstairs.
Ian, I know it's only 20 minutes into the game, but already you're very impressed with what you've seen.
Yeah, I think the standard this year is excellent. When you look at the big number 13 for Oxford, Simon Dewsbury, and the full-back as well. And sure, I'm biased towards Oxford. What you can see is an increasing, improving standard of rugby league played at the universities. It's great.
And it was the varsity match that got you involved in the sport, I believe.
Absolutely right. A discussion after the Varsity match at Richmond 4 years ago. And a few months later, I got a phone call to say, did I want to buy into London Broncos, as it then was. So I owe my involvement in professional rugby league to the Varsity match.
And we can't leave you without a little eye on Saturday's game on Sky Sports. Obviously, a vested interest there. Warrington will be a big challenge.
Warrington-Wigan should be a very good game. Very exciting. We're hoping to make it 4 out of 5.
Thanks very much, Ian. Enjoy the game.
Cheers.
Hold it, lads.
Cambridge in possession. And that is, of course, Warrington against Wigan on Saturday at 5:55 on Sky Sports 1 and on HD1 as well. And on Friday night, it's the Castleford Tigers against the World Club Champions, the Leeds Rhinos. That's on Sky Sports 2 from 7:30. Can the Tigers get off the mark? And don't forget that after that game has wrapped up, there's more rugby league to come with Super League Extra Time live via the red button. If you want in-depth analysis, interviews and previews of the rest of the weekend's actions, it's all there available via the red button. Here at the Stoop, it's Oxford in the lead, and that's a great break from Paul O'Connor. O'Connor to Batstone, he'll get his second try. Batman is flying in for another Oxford try, and the Dark Blues stun Cambridge again. 2 breakaway tries, and Batstone is on the end of both of them. Well, they've only been down really in the Cambridge half a couple of times this game, and both times, well, they've been down 3 times. They've blown 1 try and they've scored 2, and Batstone's got them both.
He just come up and sidestep Whiskered, and Batstone, just as all good wingers do, sniffing round the middle of the pitch. He knows that the Cambridge forwards are a bit tired, but I'm sure they're going to come good, Bill.
So Tom Muir with the conversion, another straightforward attempt from him, and Oxford ahead by 12 points to 0.
I want to talk about the professionalism of these 2 teams, like going in the derby games, but I can only talk about the Cambridge boys. After this, I look at that, just great footwork there by Paul O'Connor, as all O'Connors do, and passes it on to James Batstone there.
You're struggling there.
Full of it there, Batstone,
you're struggling there if you're claiming him.
Of course I'm claiming him. He's an O'Connor.
It is. It's funny. The Oxford side all have unique nicknames, and O'Connor's nickname is the Mouth.
And that's obviously a family characteristic as well.
But what I was going to say about the professionalism of the Cambridge lads, 6:30 in the morning before lectures, they go into training. And after they've done the hard work in the gym, on the field, they finish it all off before they go into the class in an ice bath.
Yes, they're adopting a very professional attitude at both universities. Cambridge training 4 days a week, including that Friday morning session. Oxford similarly well drilled and leading here by 12 points to 0. Oh, that looked like a little fumble there from I think it was Avery. No, it wasn't. It was Paul O'Connor. Yep, it's another characteristic.
Turn it up, guys. Well done, that's better.
Now here come Oxford again.
4, come on!
Well, a great atmosphere as usual. Not a massive crowd at the Stoop. There are rival attractions, including it's boxing night at Varsity. That was forward. Batstone must have thought of a hat-trick there for a moment, but that was definitely forward. Yeah, this clashing with the boxing Varsity in Oxford tonight, which apparently is not for the faint-hearted. But there's plenty of supporters here for both these 2 sides, and coming in all shapes and sizes and in all states of dress. That's about as much as we can show you of that particular group. Who, if you can think back to the Borat film and a particular style of dress, well,
we could
it's not far off from that.
We could have our future Prime Minister there.
Hold on, Nick. Go.
So Cambridge trailing by 12 points to 0, and probably thinking, how on earth can we be trailing from 12 points to 0, because they've dominated possession, they've had much the better field position. Well, I would reckon so, and yet they've got nothing to show for it. They've had plenty of repeat sets.
The kicking game hasn't been the best. They've gone for the chess game, really, just going for repeat sets and not really asking too many questions, and of course errors like that.
Back Cambridge, you're done.
George Sykes on that occasion who makes the error. Just a little bit of a loose carry, perhaps in two minds what he was going to do, and before you know it, the Oxford defender made his mind up for him.
Terry O'Connor going from the agonies up here with his Cambridge colours on. Actually gave the Cambridge lads a stirring pre-match speech, presented them with their shirts as well.
Yeah, it's obviously done the trick.
Well, it's the usual thing. You can't do anything once they cross that whitewash.
Come on, come on, come on. Well done.
Oxford
Play on.
with Will Avery.
3.
And Avery just directing operations there. Old drives the ball forward.
Hold it, Marcus.
Muir. Again, they're going to spin this ball wide. Try to forward from the Cambridge supporters, but in fact Cambridge concede a penalty, the high tackle.
He runs a good line, Carpenter. That's 2 or 3 times now he's run and got the defender around his neck because he's lunging towards him and he gets that ball away. There he is. Opponent having to grab him round the neck because he's got no control of him.
Not sure if it was Rupert Wingate-Saul or Freddie Humphreys who were the one of those two was the culprit, but the penalty gives Oxford another great attacking opportunity.
I've got eyes in the back of my head.
Ben Thaler just telling the Cambridge lads he's got eyes in the back of his head if they're trying to sneak up on his blind side. And here come Oxford again, managing to get the ball away in the tackle, Danny O'Driscoll, and finding Paul O'Connor, and O'Connor stretching out. He's just lost the ball at the crucial moment.
I'm not sure whether that last pass to O'Connor was a shade forward as well, but as I said, some good signs, some good offloads.
He's got some strength there, O'Connor, as he goes for the line, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's lost that ball.
Yeah, when you reach out, you've got to keep your
But Dan Garbutt's side very nearly in for another try there.
When you reach
probably John Evans has got to get out and say to his players that really when the first 2-3 play the balls, the Oxford forwards are coming, sucking them in, and then they're going wide. So they've really got to start looking up and looking what's in front of them, because they seem to be chasing out, and that's why when Humphreys come up with that penalty, because he was chasing too hard across field for the Oxford player to come in and sidestep him.
It's another good tackle, that.
Yeah, Max Stetchman felt that. And it was little Will Avery with the tackle.
He's worked very hard, Will Avery. Petal is his nickname. I think that's the sarcastic nickname.
You weren't supposed to say that.
It's a little bit like Little John. Petal is his nickname. He's the hard man, the aggressive player on the team. Very much lifting his teammates with his defensive work ethic.
Well, that was Tom Waterfield putting his shoulder in there. And I think Paul Dower felt that one, that's for sure. And that's some good defence from the Oxford side. And now they'll run the ball back. Wingate-Saul, I beg your pardon, it's Charlie Morris.
That's a better line of defence, isn't it? Probably jumped off a bit too quick. We've just got to start winning the collision again. Turn him on his back. Better. Come on, Cambridge.
Come on, come on, come on. Go.
Schroeder it was with the tackle. Here is Muir. Muir takes them on himself and almost found a gap. And then gets the penalty anyway, because Freddie Humphreys is penalised for just trying to delay the ball there. The former Bradford Grammar School pupil, and Terry, a Widnes Vikings supporter.
Yeah, and his dad holds a season ticket as well, Bill.
Well, he's getting a warning there from Ben Thaler.
Is that a special occurrence in the town of Widnes, somebody that has a season ticket?
I think you should go in the middle of Widnes and say that, see how hard you are then, Barry.
Yeah,
I have done.
Steady, steady. So Oxford with the penalty, and they're up to the Cambridge 40-metre line here, and they've really enjoyed this first half. You couldn't say they've dominated it, but they've got the points when they've had they could have had another couple of tries as well.
Again, I think they took advantage of 3 or 4 occasions. I think they've come up with the points on most of them, but the kicking game, I feel, from Cambridge has just let them down. Even though on the last kick it was a better chase. Not many
Avery,
questions. Great stuff.
Run from the hooker. And almost through there, Will Avery. Tom Waterfield, and Waterfield with a cross-field kick. Well, nobody was on the same wavelength, and the ball almost bounced back into the arms of the Oxford chasers. Tom Waterfield, tanned and healthy, the Oxford standoff.
I think the the kick, Bill, just caught Paul O'Connor out. He wasn't expecting that. He has been calling for it earlier on in the sets.
Not a bad idea.
Good move.
Tom Waterfield, the president of Oxford last year, and I seem to remember that he pledged that he'd have a tattoo of Oxford University RLFC applied to a certain part of his body if they won that game, which they duly did, and yet the word is that he is yet to have the tattoo done. Came very close to it last week, but managed to avoid the tattoo parlour.
Come on. Go.
Maybe he'll have to have it done if they win this year. At the moment, they lead by 12 points to 0. We're coming up to half an hour gone. 5 tackles gone.
5.
George Smybert, it was among the tacklers. And Rupert Wingate-Saul picks that ball up.
A brave run from O'Connor there. Brave run. Flush into 2 defenders. Lost his team a couple of yards, but again, bravery on shore from the Oxford players.
2, no, flop on, get out.
Forster is tackled. Avery. Here is Tom Waterfield. Mowat.
3.
There's danger now for Cambridge. Dewsbury's come back on after a bit of a breather. Again, they've got to be aware where he is, because as I say, he's the go-to player, and he's gone standing right out on the right-hand side.
Well, he's coming back towards the ball now, Dewsbury. Oxford on the halfway, and that ball's come free, and it's back to 1. Well, briefly it was in the possession of Carl Schroeder as it popped out in the tackle, but Schroeder couldn't keep a hold of it, and it's back with Oxford now, and a slip there from Tom Waterfield, and it's, well, Ben Thaler can sort that one out.
First knock on. Hold on.
He said at first, Bill, it was stolen one-on-one, then he said it was knocked on.
You deeming that a knock on up there?
My call, yeah, I thought it was a knock on.
Definitely knock on. All right, scrum down.
Well, he's got about 4 to choose from there, and they're going to go back to an earlier knock-on.
Well, that first play that he's going back to, Bill, must have been a knock-on, because it didn't go into the Cambridge hand. The Oxford player took it into the collision, and the Cambridge player come up with the ball, so obviously it must have been lost. Not being biased or anything, Bill.
Well, there's Schroeder. The ball's knocked out of his grasp.
Schroeder's worked very hard in defence. Come up on a couple of times, jolting the ball. And even when he hasn't gone for that big shot, he's just been at hand.
Freddie Humphreys tackled by Tom Muir. Cambridge with Paul Dower. 3 tackles gone. They've yet really to threaten this Oxford line. Paddy Hunt now. Hunt tackled, making slow progress. Dower once more. That's the 5th tackle. Needs to be a good kick. Sykes it is. Again, drills it in, and Morris is well positioned for the Dark Blues to field that ball right under his own post. It wasn't a particularly testing kick.
Again, he's kicked it directly to the fullback when I felt if he'd have only looked outside, he'd have had numbers. So far, his options on last tackle have been quite telling, and that's why, unfortunately, I feel Cambridge are behind on the scoreboard.
Mowat, well, Cambridge lucky not to concede a penalty there, because Paddy Hunt came in very late to join in that tackle. Waterfield, Oxford doing the simple things pretty effectively at the moment. On the charge now with Danny O'Driscoll.
That's better defence, isn't it?
That's the 5th tackle. O'Driscoll theatrically to his feet. Dewsbury, well, he's landed one 40-20 already. Can he get another one?
Give him 10. Come on! What move?
It's a good kick chase. It might not have got the distance that Dewsbury was looking for, but his teammates reacted, give him a good kick chase.
Half an hour gone. Oxford ahead by 12 points to 0. Last year's winners looking to retain the KJ Lee Trophy. They won it by only 6 points last year.
Go, well done.
Can they repeat the feat?
4! Yeah, guys, hold the line.
Josh Randall tackled just on the Dark Blues 40-metre line. Now it's with Matt Bray. Bray with that right arm heavily strapped. He's lucky to be playing. He's had a succession of arm injuries. Meanwhile, the kick comes in. It's still not a good one. Easily fielded by Pete Forster, and back come Oxford.
The Breeden tough up in Cumbria. He's come back from a dislocated elbow that he had received only 2 months ago. The surgeon said to him, if you want to give it a go, give it a go. Here's how you strap up, and he's out there on the pitch tonight.
That's Matt Bray, the Cambridge loose forward. But it's Oxford in possession with Collins. Plays the ball to Old. I beg your pardon, it's Charlie Rowe who's tackled just short of his own 40-metre line. Here's Collins now, that's 5 tackles gone. And Dewsbury, well, he's decided to run this one, and it's a little chip and chase, but it's not the best of kicks, and it's fielded by Max Stetchman. Well, this is a big game tonight. There's plenty more Student Rugby League action to come in the next few days. Of course, you've got Leeds Met playing Doncaster in the Challenge Cup. I think you've got the Student Cup final next week as well. So it's a busy time for Matt Jeffrey of the Student Rugby League. He's with Ben now.
Matt, it is a busy time for Student Rugby League at the moment in the Challenge Cup and booster level as well. Just tell us about what's happening this week.
Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously we're dictated by the university term time, and of course this is the end of the winter term, so we're cramming everything into these next couple of weeks. We've got obviously the PQ Varsity taking place tonight. We've got the Leeds Metropolitan in the Carnegie Challenge Cup on Saturday. Busa Cup finals on Thursday, so it's all go, absolutely all go.
And this match really developed, certainly over the last 10 years particularly.
Oh yeah. Hats off to both teams. They've really raised the games over the last few years. You know, they've actually employed full-time coaches at the universities to coach the fellas, you know, to really bring them on. And we can see the effects on the pitch. You know, it's really played at a good standard.
And off the pitch, of course, the investment as well. A lot of business leaders here as well to see this, and it's getting rugby league into boardrooms at business level as well.
Yeah. The other side of the event tonight is obviously the corporate event over in the King's Bar, the dinner. Really important that we get that exposure in the city, and in the city of London. Really good event.
Thanks very much, Matt.
No problems, thank you.
Matt Jeffrey has his work cut out just at the moment, and Leeds Met have their work cut out at the moment, and Oxford their work cut out to retain possession. They're not doing a particularly good job of it.
Yeah. Okay, I've got it, cheers.
Going to be a big test for the Leeds Met side. Paul Fletcher, good pal of mine, seems to be very confident, putting up a good show. Ellery Hanley, of course, the great Ellery Hanley, coaching Doncaster these days. Paul Fletcher used to coach Ellery Hanley while in his time at Leeds, so maybe looking to get one over Ellery Hanley.
Yeah, they've got Doncaster, and then they've got Loughborough in that cup final. That will be some game as well. Leeds Met against Loughborough. And the crowd finding their voice here at the Stoop. It's Oxford in the lead by 12 points to 0, but Cambridge towards the end of this first half just trying to get some points on the board to give themselves a bit of a lift. They're in possession now. And Josh Randall hurling himself at the dark blue line there. 4 tackles gone in the shadow of those posts. A little sniping run from Alfie Weston. Weston is tackled, didn't like that tackle, gets to his feet very slowly to play the ball. And the kick is easily charged down, and they're on the break here now with Tim Carpenter. Carpenter going around the outside. If Batstone had been there, he could have been in for another one, but he couldn't get there in time. But now here is Batstone. His 2 tries have given Oxford this advantage in the first half. The Dark Blues are in possession now.
2. Yeah.
Again, getting to the kick, seem to be losing the composure, knowing where they are on the field. All they had to do then was look outside him, then Jamie Short-Stewart.
Waterfield, what a great break from Tom Waterfield. He's got clear field in front of him. He'll go all the way. Tom Waterfield with the try. And it came out of nothing there. Last year's president, Victor with the Dark Blues last season, and a try scorer here at the Stoop tonight.
Again, good distance, good movement from the dummy half. It's Tom Waterfield that just shows a clean pair of heels, steps off his left foot, and it's the fullback, Max Stenson, just a little bit far behind. He just thinks, I'm going for it. Magnificent. That's full on 50 metres, and he'd made his mind up when he brought the line. Dan Garbutt there, pleased with his standoff.
And he'll be pleased with Tom Muir if the former Arnold School pupil in Blackpool can land this conversion. He's pushed it across the face of the posts, but a very, very satisfactory first half for the Dark Blues. all the points going to them. James Batstone, there he is, getting two of them, two great wingers tries, breakaway tries, and then right at the end of that first half, Tom Waterfield going in as well. And Oxford under the cosh for plenty of the time, but in the lead by 16 points to 0 at half-time.
Super League 13, Friday and Saturday, Sky Sports.
I'm going to show you how to make an Oreo. First you twist it, then you lick it, then you dunk it. Mum says that dogs shouldn't eat biscuits, so I'm going to have to eat yours too. Never mind, Chummy.
Only Oreo. I am the hunter, the pouncer, the king of my very own jungle. Now there's a new cat food from IAMS that appeals to your cat's nature. New Nature's Wellness. With 4 main food groups: wholesome chicken, whole grains, nutritious vegetables, and antioxidants. I'm more than just a cat. I am an IAMS cat. It's good to be king. New Nature's Wellness from IAMS.
Welcome to Beverly Hills, home of the rich and famous. Just look at the beautiful cars.
It's okay for today. They're gone.
The Renault Clio, an exterior sign of inner richness. Now appearing on a street near you. The Renault Clio, from £99 per month with no deposit. Typical 9.4% APR.
Ariel's cool, clean technology cleans brilliantly at 30 degrees. Turning to 30 is one of the many ways we can all do our bit to help keep the world's temperature down. And with Ariel, you still get outstanding results. Ariel, let's all turn to 30.
2 men. 1 cage. No holds barred.
Let's fight!
Cage Rage 25, Saturday 9 p.m. Sky Sports 3.
There's cricket to come on Sky Sports tonight. New Zealand against England from 9 o'clock on Sky Sports 1. Here at the Stoop in the P-cubed Varsity match, Oxford ahead by 16 points to 0. The defending champions stunning the light blues with 3 tries in the first half. And really, Oxford under the cosh for much of the opening quarter of the game, and then managing to break the stranglehold that the light blues had got on them. Cambridge, Barry had certainly dominated the early part of the game, and Oxford did very well to break the shackles, didn't they?
As I said, just a great line here. Pins his ears back. And James Batstone's really been the star of that first half. Any half break, any half chance, he's beyond the end of it. And he's got great pace. It's Paul O'Connor here who shows good footwork to break down the middle of the pitch. And again, Batstone on hand, just puts his foot down and shows a lot of gas right under the black dot. The last try from the standoff, Waterfield, Sparky to his mates, that's his nickname, certainly sparked up, pinned his ears back, and a fantastic try.
And in fact, Oxford are probably in that dressing room now, kicking themselves and thinking we could have had another couple of tries as well, because Dewsbury with a great break and unfortunately a poor pass to Paul O'Connor, he would have been in, and O'Connor just short, just knocking the ball on short of the line. So Oxford, we heard before the game that they were capable of scoring points. Not so hot on defence apparently, but they've certainly shown that they can score.
Well, I think in the first 20 minutes the real strength came from the defensive efforts. I think they had 4 sets of 6 on their own line, and it was just a tremendous show of courage to keep Cambridge out. And again, when they got their chances, the wingman, you know, showed a lot of pace.
Well, I said that this game attracts the great and the good from the city. It also attracts Mike Stevenson. And Steve-O down on the touchline with Ben.
Steve-O, have you enjoyed yourself so far? It's a good standard.
Yeah, I'm surprised, actually. I think in the past we've always known that there's young talent out there with the ball in hand. But I think what's improved over the last 2 or 3 seasons is their defensive quality. We saw in the first 40 minutes, they were very, very good construction. They got themselves walking into it. Though I'm afraid Cambridge, they're going to have to change quite a few things. They had all the possession and good field position, yet they just wasted it. It surprises me that they went for the short kick, not once, but on 6 occasions. So it looks as though their plan of just using the forwards, getting in a good position and going for the kick, that was their only option. They have to be more adventurous. We've seen from this Oxford outfit that they really want to spread the ball out wide. The experience, I think, of Dewsbury is certainly telling out there, and they're working it out wide. I've been very impressed with this big fella in the centre, Carpenter.
And other than a couple of years ago when it was a one-sided affair, this has been a very close match. Cambridge will surely come out fired up in that second half.
Yeah, they will, and as I say, but they must change their tactics. You know, I'm disappointed with it, especially with this ground. You know, the floodlights are very low, and therefore, if you put up a bomb, we haven't seen a bomb this entire game. They've got to utilise that, because when it gets high above it, it is very difficult for the wingers and the fullback. They must be more adventurous.
Thanks very much, Steve. Enjoy your evening.
It's a pleasure.
Well, Terry O'Connor is firmly in the light blues camp. You'll have seen on Boots and All last night that he joined in their training session. He gave them a team talk. He's been with them earlier on this afternoon. So you'll be very disappointed with the way the first half has panned out for them.
Disappointed, Bill, the way that they started, the amount of pressure that we were putting on Oxford was tremendous, coming up with the big shots, but it was the final plays that were really letting Cambridge down, where they defend the first 3 tackles really dominant, but then after that they go wide and they just split us out wide. And I think, as Steve-O quite rightly says, it's not often I agree with Steve-O, but we haven't seen a bomb. Jamie Stewart has been putting the balls and he's been aiming for the sticks all the time, and really we've got to look up with a bit of vision and play what's outside.
Well, it is a great occasion, a great gathering of players and supporters here tonight, and one of the traditions is the presentation of the fairy cake. Now, Dr. John Hobart, who is a long-serving member of the Oxford Rugby League side, 12 seasons he's been involved in. His wife, Dominique, is a Wigan supporter, and annually, as long as they've been involved with the Varsity match, Dom bakes fairy cakes for the players, and since Sky Sports have been doing it, she's been baking fairy cakes for the Sky Sports commentary team. And even though you're a light blue tonight, Terry, she's baked you a fairy cake, so there you go.
She's baked me one fairy cake. She's baked you 3.
She's got
Barry 3.
I've got 3.
I don't think you need to eat 3, and I don't think Barry definitely needs to eat 3. But thank you very much, Dominique, and hopefully Cambridge will come back and I can hand some humble pie really to John after the game.
Oh, very, very good. Well, at the moment, certainly Oxford have been feasting on the Cambridge errors, and they are ahead. But you never know in this Varsity match. We've seen it before, 16-0 down before. Cambridge came back 3 years ago and won it 17-16. They've got a comeback to do here tonight.
Everyone on this island is going to die.
Whatever he's doing,
tell him to stop. If you want to stop us, you're going to have to shoot us both.
Brand new Lost, Sunday at 9, Sky 1 and Sky 1 HD.
Buy any drink and play Subway Scrabble for a chance to win food and drink instantly. Plus collect letters and win holiday vouchers and other prizes. Subway, eat fresh.
Disney's original 101 Dalmatians.
Darling, I'll take them all.
On Platinum Edition Disney DVD.
Come on, kids.
Own it now and get your free soft toy puppy.
Candles, wine, music, and the secret weapon.
A superb lasagna novelli.
Magic.
Created by me, frozen by Findus.
Here's the thing. Did you know at the Cooperative we were the first major retailer to sell fair trade products in all stores? The first to launch own brand fair trade chocolate too. And the first retailer to introduce fairly traded wine? That's right, the Cooperative. And now at the Cooperative, we are the first to convert all our own brand hot drinks to fair trade, right up to our award-winning Fair Trade 99 tea. Fortunately, we were also the first with fair trade cotton carrier bags too, because with a wider range of fair trade food products than anyone else in the UK, you'll be needing one. The Cooperative, good with food.
John Keats once said, "Poetry should be great and unobtrusive, a thing which enters into one's soul." What moved him to touch others with his words? Discover more about the life and works of the great poets in our new 14-part series, starting this weekend, only in The Independent.
2 hours of arresting television.
You're in the back of the van.
Back to back, Road Wars and Night Cops, Monday from 9 on Sky 1 and Sky 1 HD.
There's more Sky Sports Rugby League to come in the next couple of days. On Friday, on Sky Sports 2 and HD2, it's Castleford against Leeds from 7:30. Super League Extra Time follows that via the red button. And if you missed that, then at 12:30 on Sky Sports 2 and HD2, Castleford against Leeds highlights plus Super League Extra Time. And then on Saturday, live from the Hallowell Jones, it's Warrington Wolves against the Wigan Warriors, 5:55 on Sky Sports 1. Here at the Stoop, home of the Harlequins, well, it's the home of the PQ'd Varsity match for 2008, and Oxford, the KJ Lee trophy holders, are ahead by 16 points to 0. But Cambridge know about coming back from this sort of deficit, as I was saying at half-time. In 2005, they were 16-0 down at one point, and they came back to win it 17-16. Alex Drysdale, the hero that night, 2 tries and the drop goal that won it. They need a Drysdale out there now, do Cambridge, if they're going to get back into this game. And John Evans, their coach, will be certainly hoping for a better performance from his team in the second half, Terry.
He'll be giving them a lot of direction in the half-time break there. He'll be saying about kicking the ball and make sure you have a look up and play what's in front of you. Kick to the space and not the face, because that's what Oxford have been doing in that first half, and that's why they're behind on the scoreboard.
5! Oh! Give him 10! Give him 10!
Kick from George Sykes, but not a good one. And Dewsbury eventually gathers the ball, and Ben Thaler says, play on, get on with it.
I think the Cambridge player was not too sure whether he's onside or offside because his kicker was so far back. But Cy Dewsbury didn't want to make a mistake, took his time and picked the ball up.
It's a good run from Hugh McCormick off the bench, the politics scholar. Tom Waterfield, his try at the end of the first half really stunned Cambridge. And can Oxford build on that? Dewsbury slowly to his feet, those creaking knees allowing him to get up, and then Charlie Morris tackled high there by Humphreys. Humphreys already been spoken to by the referee in the first half. That's another high shot, and Shearman going high on his opposite number, Will Avery, and the Cambridge captain will get spoken to there for that one.
He didn't miss, did he? And that's a poor penalty to give away there by Cambridge, putting Cambridge under pressure once more.
Do me a favour, have a word with number 4 for you as well, because he's getting very close all the time when we talk.
Well, it's a thought there. Freddie Humphreys again being picked out, and Ben Thaler just telling James Shearman, the Cambridge captain, to also have a word with Freddie Humphreys about his tackling.
Here's Bill, probably the eagerness of getting out there after that talk by John Evans at half-time. Humphreys been caught out position a few times in the first half and wanting to put that right early in the second half.
Go! Wait for that foot.
Muir. Collins now. Collins to Dewsbury. That's a good ball. They're on the break now, Oxford. Charlie Rowe is tackled just short of the line. Charlie Morris is in there. Now we saw him score a couple from close range against Southgate last week, and he's done it again tonight. Charlie Morris, Barry, did exactly that against Southgate Scholars last week, and that was just nailed on to happen, wasn't it?
It was great footwork. He came out from dummy half, put a right foot step and went right through the gap. Good two-handed carry from him, but let's not underestimate Will Avery in the penalty leading up to that try. He caused the problems in defence. He's got two big players who need to reach out, and then in lunging gave away the penalty. Good right foot step from Charlie Morris, plants the ball down. Dan Garbutt again, thrilled to bits with his fullback's contribution.
And equally happy that Tom Muir has slotted that one from between the uprights. And Oxford stretching their lead now. 22-0 the scoreline. And Muir with a clap of the hands. Well, there's Charlie Morris, keen musician, and certainly hit the right notes for his side there with that try. And Cambridge now with Terry, a mountain to climb.
They have got on a bit of an uphill battle, mate, but as I say, it's still there till the very final whistle goes, and there's 36 minutes to go. 22 points behind. Well, it's only 4 tries, but they've got to control the rut. They've got to come up with the big shots.
Well, Oxford have had a rush of blood there, and they're lucky to get away with it. Back to 1, says Ben Thaler. There was a Cambridge hand in there. Well, that was knocked on, and Cambridge have got it back.
Was it a rush of blood, Bill, or are they just playing with the air of confidence now? They're going... They look really unstoppable the way that they're playing. I don't want to say it in a Cambridge fan.
They're not afraid to have a go, are they? They're not afraid to have a go.
And they look to play on the edge. They think that the weakness for the Cambridge team is out on the edge. They're not getting much joy up in the middle of the pitch against the big Cambridge set of forwards.
Josh Randall played last year. And in 2006, the number 10 for Cambridge. Ignacio El Toro, the bull they call him. Well, they need a few charges from him to liven up this Cambridge side. There is Charlie Morris, and Morris has knocked
that can't have gone behind him. Again, a bit of bias in me, but again, exactly the same pinpoint kick. He's going for the sticks, and maybe wants to look out on the left-hand side.
Have a look at this. Have a look at this. This is Charlie Morris. Now, that's a knock-on.
I think it was Charlie Morris's baby face. He doesn't look old enough to play rugby league to me. he wouldn't be a liar with a face like that, I don't think.
So a bit of a let-off there for Oxford. Here's big Andy Mowatts, the former Manchester Grammar School pupil, played Union for Cheshire and the Midlands. And the kick from Dewsbury. Now it's Rupert Wingate-Saul, tackled on the Cambridge 40-metre line.
It's Tim Carpenter that stood out in this match for me. If he hasn't been defending strongly as he did on that previous tackle, leading the kick chase, he's been taking it up strong in the middle of the pitch and also setting up a try in the first half. But Trigger, or as his nickname is, has played really strong for me.
Cambridge just over the halfway line. Ali Glass is tackled. And now it's Carl Schroeder. He's got a famous relative in Super League ranks in the shape of James Graham, who's a second cousin of Carl Schroeder. So the kick is fielded by the Oxford defence. We can go down to the pitch side and hear from Ben Pro.
Well, there's no pleasing some people, Bill, because Dan Carver, despite the Oxford lead, he was more concerned that there were 7 errors in that first half. So I don't know what the Oxford team have to do. He wants them to maintain the tempo. He didn't want half-time to come. On the Cambridge bench, John Evans very pleased with the strong defence on show. He feels that the Oxford tries came from lucky breaks, and he emphasised that there are 4 forwards on the Cambridge bench, and he expects their strength to tell later in the half.
Well, Ben Thaler, he might be impressed with the defence, but Ben Thaler's not impressed with the defence, and Will Avery just being advised to stay away.
First of all, mate, right,
and that was a high shot from
I don't need
Luke
Tyson. He's on the
Tyson.
ground after going with Seduce stick out.
Really flung himself in there.
Right, okay, yeah, think about what we're doing. Okay, leave it to me. Back here where it was.
And Tyson getting a talking to from the referee.
Pull it down. You're behind here. Oh, hold on.
James Collins, who was on the floor, he had the penalty given to him, just laughing, just smiling. They'll eat those yards up. 20 cheap metres, takes them over the halfway on the attack again.
So Oxford ahead by 22 points to 0. And once more driving the ball upfield. Collins is tackled by Tyson again, not afraid to once more get involved, and Dewsbury again timing his run perfectly, but there were 3 of them there in a Cambridge reception committee. Dewsbury trying to play the ball, and a great break from Muir. Lovely ball from Muir, lovely try, and it's going to go to Danny O'Driscoll. Batstone was pleading for the ball for his hat-trick, but O'Driscoll was in there in the right place. And Danny O'Driscoll gets another try for this Oxford side, who are now heading towards another victory in this varsity match. And a great break here from this dark blue side.
Here's Bill just taking the ball to the line and just running with some aggression. And that was great. That Batstone devastated that O'Driscoll intercept that pass. But the way they've started off this second half, Oxford, they look more to the confident side. They just want to play rugby. They've done all the hard work in the first half, and they look like they're just going out there to enjoy the second half.
Dan Garbutt's certainly enjoying it. And again, Tim Carpenter involved there, the Oxford number 3.
He really is all over the pitch. He seems to be in the right place at the right time, but I think when you're a player of that stature and you're a player of that ilk, then you make things happen. Gave the final pass, and on a different day might have got it back and got his own meat pie, but 28-0 to Oxford. Come on!
Oxford well ahead. Tom Muir celebrating another successful conversion. It was Muir's break as well that helped create that try, and John Evans with a lot to think about, and not happy thoughts either.
And the hill's getting that bit steeper now for the Cambridge boys to get back into. Just looking at them there, the body language, they're all talking, saying the right things, but they've got to come up with the right things. They've got to show a lot of shape in defence as well as in attack, because it's the shape in defence that's really, really letting them down. The collisions are really good. The first up tackle, they're hitting them, they're turning them on the back, but then they're getting caught out wide.
Okay.
Here is Carpenter. Strong runner in his 3rd varsity match, and certainly enjoying this one. And again, Oxford not afraid to give this ball a bit of width. And it's exciting to watch, and certainly the dark blue supporters over there in the main stand enjoying what they're seeing from their side. Whoosh.
Come on.
Cambridge committed in the tackle, but really it's hard to remember Cambridge threatening the Oxford line.
Especially in this second half, Bill, that they've just been on the back foot constantly, the way that Oxford have been playing the game, and again, getting the ball to big Dewsbury out wide.
Dewsbury, now Batstone is outside him, but Dewsbury fancies it himself. Had to go infield, really. Batstone is on his wing, hands on his head and pleading for the ball. Well, he might get it here, or Morris might fancy his chances again. And really, they're all over them at the moment. Morris going for it on the last tackle, couldn't quite get there. Dan Garbutt, though, pleased that his side are still causing Cambridge all sorts of problems. Well, we've already mentioned that Tom Waterfield at 6 for Oxford, the former president, pledged last season that he'd have a tattoo applied if his side won, and I think up here in the commentary box there's been a similar pledge made between the supporters of Oxford and Cambridge here about what the loser will have to do. Now, I haven't been let in on the secret. I don't know if it's broadcastable.
It's still a secret until we get to the final whistle, but it's nothing to do with tattoos. I have enough tattoos on my body, Bill.
I don't want to know where they are either.
Mrs. Arthur might know.
Well, Oxford have got possession, but not for long. They've got it back. Play on, says Ben Thaler. I thought that ball went forward.
Go on.
And here they come again. They could be in. They are in. It's Pete Forster with the try. And Ben Thaler awarding it. Cambridge disappointed with that. The ball, it seemed, had gone forward earlier on in the sequence, but Pete Forster, 6'2" in height and very strong running centre, doing all the work there.
There was a few errors to choose from. The Cambridge winger had to come in, he had to make a decision, and the ball being bounced about from all over him. As soon as Forster gets the ball here, he shrugs the defender off, puts the gas down. A good exchange of the ball from one hand to another to hand the player off, as you see. And again, he puts it in the other one. Excellent skill level here. Hand off, and just bangs the ball down. Good stuff.
A regular try scorer for the dark blues side, Pete Forster. Now then, Tom Muir, the Lancastrian, has been kicking very well tonight. He's only missed one kick so far. They generally have been kindly placed for him, and this one more difficult. He's well short of the target, but Oxford are on target for a victory, and they're ahead by 32 points to 0.
And they're looking comfortable, aren't they, Bill?
Oh dear, Martin
John
Woodcock
Evans
alongside John Evans. Woodcock, similarly a long-serving member of the Rugby League fraternity at Cambridge. Disappointed with how this is panning out.
And he was very confident before the game. The build-up that the Cambridge teams have had leading into this game, they couldn't have done anything better.
Well, yes, they played Super League junior opposition. They played reserve sides from Harlequin, St Helens and Warrington in the build-up to this, as well as playing their university games, their regular university games. So they've had plenty of practice. But I wonder if going through the Oxford minds now is what Cambridge did to them a couple of years ago in 2006. Cambridge thrashed Oxford 44-0. It was the nil that hurt. It was devastating for the Dark Blues, and I'm sure they'd like to inflict similar damage to your mob.
As in any derby game, it's going to hurt you, especially when you get nilled against the opposition. So this is the biggest game that they're going to play all year. The hard work that they do for 16 weeks while they're training as rugby league players, as well as the college education that they're doing, and they really want to win. They want the bragging rights between the universities. Who's going to come out on top? I'm still confident, Bill. There's still 25 minutes to go. I'm not giving it up yet.
It would have to be a spectacular comeback. Dewsbury with another big kick, but just over the 40-metre line, and it's fielded by Cambridge.
The Oxford defenders very, very lucky. Simon Dewsbury standing about 15 metres back, didn't get the distance he wanted, and because he didn't chase up, he didn't play his defenders onside, but the Cambridge full-back played the Oxford defensive line onside.
This is the 28th varsity match in rugby league terms, and among the crowd I know here tonight is the rugby league stalwart Maurice Oldroyd, who has never missed one of these games, which is a fantastic achievement from Maurice. Neither has Dr. Dick McConnell, who was one of the founding fathers of the varsity match, and a Cambridge Don himself, Dick McConnell. He too, I think, is here tonight as well. Like Maurice Oldroyd, hasn't missed one, but Dick McConnell will not be enjoying this. His Cambridge side on the wrong end of a 32-0 scoreline.
That was the first time that Jamie Shaw-Stewart put the kick into the corner, and as you can see on 3 players now, he's just keeping him penned down there in the 20. Batstone, that's the second time he's had to take the ball out. And really, this is where they need to be pressing now and forcing the error, getting up in Oxford face and putting pressure on them, making them come up with that mistake.
Anthony Bradley playing the ball there, the Bradford Bulls supporter and a Nottingham Forest supporter as well, so hasn't been a good week for him in terms of the teams he supports until tonight, that is. Dewsbury thumps that kick downfield, but didn't get a great deal of distance. Matt Stetchman is underneath it, and Stetchman has lost the ball, and then Pete Forster couldn't pick it up. The game getting a little bit scrappy, Stetchman furious with himself.
Good impact though. The first defender catches his attention, number 6. Good shoulder, targets the ball, and jolts the grip away. Good stuff again.
Stetchman felt that, the Colchester Grammar School old boy. Last year there were quite a lot of stoppages for injuries. We haven't. This is the first, in fact, we've seen so far tonight.
Bit of magic spray will be okay.
Shoulder problem for the Cambridge fullback. Talking of shoulder problems, sad to hear of Paul Wood having another shoulder knock at Warrington.
Devastating blow for Paul himself and for Paul Cullen, the Warrington team, because just coming back, doing all that hard work in the gym, the rehab program, building it back up, only for it to go on his first comeback game. It's a devastating blow, and I do wish him all the best, as does everybody in rugby league.
Here to that. Warrington, in actual fact, as I mentioned earlier on, were one of the teams that provided opposition for Cambridge in the build-up to this game, and in fact, I know the club sent a good luck message to Cambridge ahead of this game. They might need a little bit more than good luck now, because it's Oxford coming forward again, and Tom Waterfield, one of their try scorers, trying to keep Josh Randall at bay, but the big Scotsman is all over him. Here is Tom Muir. Dewsbury was the dummy runner. Good work from Collins again, and Collins has got better as this game has gone on, the number 8 for the Dark Blues.
They all seem to have build, they all seem to be running. There's a lot of players in motion as the Oxford halfbacks run across looking to pick up the players. They can pick anybody out, as you can see now.
Waterfield puts the kick in, it's gone back, says Ben Thaler. And that's a bit of a let-off for Cambridge. It's a nasty kick for Waterfield. It was Shearman who managed to field it. Now then, can Cambridge just get points on the board? We've still got 20 minutes to go. A good run from Paddy Hunt, I think it was.
They've been under a lot of pressure, Bill. They look tired. The Cambridge, they need to come up with a good kick chase here to the corner.
Oh, and the ball is hacked forward in the end, and it'll be the turnover, says Ben Thaler.
Very unfortunate for Cambridge. In some ways, the kicking game has let them down. The minute they look to start to put pressure on Oxford, unfortunately, they let themselves down, but I'm sure they'll want to get over that whitewash, even if it's just for one try. But tonight, I feel a fantastic performance from Tim Carpenter. He's played well in attack and defence.
But you know what, and I will say, you've got to credit the Oxford kick chase and the kick pressure, because they're putting a lot of pressure on the half-backs for Cambridge, in Stewart and in Sykes. They just seem to be not giving them any time on the ball to come up with that play. Like when Dewsbury gets the ball, he seems to come up with that big play, and he has a lot of time to get the kick away.
Good defence from Cambridge that time to put the hit in and get possession back. Well, this fixture growing in stature and attracting quite a prominent sponsor in recent years. And let's go down to the sidelines and hear more about that from Ben Pro.
Carl, I know you're enjoying this Oxford-Cambridge fixture, but as a company, the sponsors a very special anniversary to celebrate this year.
Yeah, it's been great actually. We've obviously been 10 years into this, and to be honest, we've been motivated by the point of amateur success, and you know, teamwork is a key to life. Yeah, so that's why we're involved in this particular sponsorship, and in particular, to see Student Rugby League flourish over the last 10 years has been a privilege.
And a decade in the Oxford-Cambridge fixture, the standards improved dramatically.
I think they have. Obviously, I think the fitness levels and the focus on this particular event have clearly gone up massively. But the most important thing is people are out there doing sport and enjoying it.
So you see yourself being involved with the fixture for years to come?
Yeah, indeed. I mean, we're really committed to this particular event and the wider impact of sport on society. You know, you look at the London Olympics coming forward and the impact on youngsters to do good stuff away from perhaps the indoors to the outdoors. That's important to us, yeah.
Thanks very much, Carl.
Thanks.
P-Cube, the sponsors of this varsity match here at the Stoop, which Oxford are well on course to win at the moment, and it's getting a painful experience for this Cambridge side. Had such high hopes going into it that they would be able to avenge last season's narrow defeat. But Max Stetchman's certainly in the wars. He's had a bang to the shoulder and now he's being helped off with, it looked like cramp, but it's possibly a bit more serious than that.
It was a strong challenge that came in from, I think it's Danny O'Driscoll there. But again, Tim Carpenter made a bust, and if it wasn't for a hand in the wrong place, I think he'd have got his try and he'd have got his just desserts for tonight. But I still feel there's plenty of points to be scored in this match just yet.
Paddy Hunt now driving the ball in, shrugging off one tackler from the dark blues. That's the sort of thing that will lift a side. They need a few more of those. Whiskered, he showed up well as well when he came on earlier on for the light blues, but surely it's beyond them now to get back into this game. There've been some fairly major turnarounds in the history of this one, but this would have to be the biggest of all. Shaw Stewart, here's Shearman, the captain, still going, looking over his shoulder for some support. There was none there. It's with Alfie Weston now. Weston to Jamie Shaw Stewart. Paddy Hunt, legs pumping, trying to get over the try line. The Cambridge supporters urging him on as well. And they are over the try line, and Alfie Weston will get the try off the bench. And Weston at least gets Cambridge on the scoreboard with that close-range try in his first year of rugby league. And he's got Cambridge's first try of the game.
But better build-up play as well, Bill. Alfie Weston has taken a sneaky little dive over, but leading up to the play, instead of going for the little short kicking game, and there's great drive there. Look at the leg drive. Come up with two big plays earlier than that as well. Alfie Weston. Bill, are you eating your cake there? Bill?
I'm just enjoying one of Mrs. Hobart's
Can you not talk? Is it nice? But Cambridge, they're coming up with some good plays. But the reason for this was that Jamie Shaw Stewart, instead of going for the little kick, he took the ball to the line and he passed it on. All he had to do was a little tip on, and it was the next play that little Alfie Weston come up with the try.
It's Weston here, close to the line. I think it was Simon Dewsbury and the defender inside him, more concerned with the width of the pass from dummy half and pushing from the inside without actually challenging and defending the threat. which was the ball.
But that's, you've got to keep doing, you've got to keep your opposition guessing at what you're going to do. Cambridge, we've been probably predictable really in what we're doing with the kick to the post and really defending that. Oxford dropping players back, but that play just a little tip on and Alfred Weston scooting over.
To be absolutely accurate, the fairy cakes have come from Dr. Dom Moran, is her professional name, from Birmingham University, geography lecturer there, so thank you very much, very tasty.
The cakes.
Cambridge now then, just a little bit of a lift there in the spirits that they've got points on the board, successful conversion as well. 32-6 the scoreline. At least they've avoided the ignominy of being nilled.
He's made a big impact, Ian Whisker, hasn't he? The way that he takes the ball forward, oh, scatters a couple of them, lands on his front, quick play the ball.
Ignacio, just a bit of a fumble at the play the ball, but no knock on. Batstone does well to gather that one. Thought he was going to get away from him. He'll be absolutely furious because twice in this second half it looked as though he was on for a hat-trick.
Bill, he scored 2 tries. How unhappy can he be? He needs to do his work.
He looks like he's a winger who likes scoring tries.
The greedy wingers, as long as you get your name in the paper.
Bradley dumped that ball backwards and it went forwards, so Cambridge will get head and feet at this scrum.
It's the confidence that Oxford are playing with, trying to offload the ball everywhere, but Cambridge, it's probably the little lift that they need.
I'm not sure that was a knock on me. He offloaded the ball, it hit the Cambridge player and rebounded forward. I think he was a little bit hard done to.
I'll take it though, Barry.
I bet you will. You still won't win.
Well, this is Cambridge's best spell of the game.
Move!
Shearman
Get up!
standing out of the scrum, plays the ball. Oh,
good
big
shot.
Hit. Danny O'Driscoll it was. Well. He's had a good second half, hasn't he, O'Driscoll?
The Essence is his nickname. Just glides through a game.
Well, relative Brian O'Driscoll would have been impressed with that.
It's a bit of a fumble as well, I think, there.
Whiskered now. Cambridge looking for more points.
And looking to play with a bit of width, Bill, here.
Well, now they come back in field. It's with the try scorer, Alfie Weston. It's with Schroeder now, and Schroeder trying to use his considerable physique to get across the try line, but that's good defence from the Dark Blues.
Deserves a try and worked really hard.
They're in here, and it's a try for Ian Whiskered. And the big man of this Cambridge side has got him another try. The coach impassive. That'll do. Well, it's an improvement, but it's too late, I'm sure. Ian Whiskered, England students player, in fact, and lists Jamie Peacock as one of his favourite players. Well, there has been something of a Jamie Peacock characteristic about this performance. There's the knock-on that allowed Cambridge to have possession.
But just see the way that they're running. Carl Schroeder, though, coming up with a big run. Ian Whiskered, he deserves this. He's added a lot since he's got on. Just the easiest, simplest of dives over, looking for his fans in the crowd. But they're just running with a lot, much more aggression, leg drive. They're just looking to break the tackles, and they're looking the more confident side. But obviously, I don't like to say this, but I think Oxford have got him back, but Cambridge haven't given up.
Sykes missed that. They could have done with that. Tell you what, though, another try.
And it's all on absolutely momentum. It's a difficult thing to stop, and the momentum is with Cambridge. Some big plays, some big runs, and Ian Whiskered in the frame there. He's a big lump of a lad as well. Used every ounce of his weight. Again, I feel the defenders from Oxford were looking to push from the inside and defend the long pass instead of defending the threat.
Dan Garbett, the Oxford coach, down on the sidelines, maybe just geeing his side up. They might have just taken their foot off the gas a little bit. I think that's probably been disrespectful to this Cambridge side, who have up the effort. And Whiskered, the try scorer, again leading the charge.
And he's disappointed, Billy, shouting urgency from his players. He wants them to go out there, and he's seen that they've laxed down in the last 10 minutes and Cambridge get back in the game. But I do think, Bill, what you rightly said then is what Cambridge have been doing really well. They've just upped the ante a bit, and they're starting to put a bit of pressure onto Oxford.
Cambridge, 4 tackles gone, still inside their own half. Here's Alfie Weston, who's ignited things. So has Ian Whiskered there. 5 tackles gone. It needs to be a good kick from the light blues here. Sykes, but only finds Batstone. Batstone comes back across the field and is chased down by Carl Schroeder. More rugby league to come on Sky Sports in the next couple of days. Friday, 7:30, it's Castleford Tigers against the Leeds Rhinos on Sky Sports 2 and HD2. And that's followed by Super League Extra Time. That's live via the red button for analysis, interviews and previews as well. Here come the Dark Blues with Dewsbury, their captain. Dewsbury back in field, still going on, ankle tap in the end. But Dewsbury gets to his feet. They keep the ball alive. Batstone is waiting for it and it wouldn't come. Oh! Just for a moment it looked as though Batstone was going to get his hat-trick, but the ball snatched out of the air by Jamie Shaw-Stewart.
If Oxford would have scored that try, then that would have been one of the best tries not only you would have seen in Super League, but they've seen of all time watching these Oxford and Cambridge games.
It needed the intervention from Jamie Shaw-Stewart to deprive Oxford of another try there.
It was Paul O'Connor who came out from dummy half, lots of speed and causing some trouble for the big fellas. That's where Oxford need to concentrate, defend this set of 6 and then get some speed round the ruck.
Weston slowly to his feet to play that ball. The kick from Sykes, but straight down the middle into the hands of Charlie Morris. Morris will run it back.
Tackle 1. Here come, guys.
Tackled by Ali Glass it was. And then a great darting run from Paul O'Connor. Gets to his feet and plays the ball. And then a less sophisticated approach from Andy Mowat up to the halfway line. And Oxford replying in kind here. Mowat just, I think, a touch of cramp.
Oh, obstruction.
Obstruction by George Smybert, I think.
You can't run around him and then pass the ball.
The dummy runner just getting too close and too far in front. He actually took one of the Cambridge players out.
It was George, it was your friend George.
Yeah, I'll have to tell him about that.
Current president of this Oxford side. Very kindly gave us a guided tour of his college, Brasenose. And we must mention, introduced us to Johnny Hawkins, who's unlucky not to be playing for the Dark Blues tonight. 6'6" Boltonian, who gave Barry a crash course in pure maths.
He did, and he showed me around the quad that where he lives, a rather old buildings. I said, this is fine, it looks maybe like a film set off. One of those films, Chariots on Fire.
Well, Cambridge are on fire at the moment and looking for more points.
Line, guys.
Sykes is tackled just short. Jamie Shaw-Stewart. And it's back with Jamie Shaw-Stewart. Shearman now, the captain, takes him on. Thunderous tackle. And Cambridge managed to retain possession. Could have been a penalty against Oxford then, but Rupert Wingate-Saul is allowed to get to his feet and play the ball.
5 guys, line, get up, get up.
Matt Bray.
5
He's going again.
Little grubber kick and it'll come back, I think.
Again though, Bill, there was 6 players outside him on the right-hand side. He just had to look up and just play with a bit of vision, look what's in front.
That'll be the turnover. Cambridge complaining that Oxford had actually played at that ball, but then Ben Thaler having none of it.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, hold it, hold it.
But they've left it too late to build this sort of pressure.
They haven't given up though, that's the main thing. And what we need to realise about this particular fixture and student rugby league in general, we might not be grooming the next Great Britain captain or Super League player, but what we're doing is letting players fall in love with our great game.
O'Connor away on that Oxford left, and O'Connor legs pumping, gets the ball back in field. Oh, and then a good tackle, and it denies Tom Waterfield, and the ball goes forward. But a scurrying run from O'Connor there.
I think any club watching him tonight, Bill, would be mighty impressed. Look at the speed that he seems to have, and he's strong in the collision, where he shrugs off players, and you might well see another O'Connor in Super League, Bill.
Well, he's played county rugby union for Somerset.
Some might say if one O'Connor can play Super League, then my man could play Super League.
Well, here come the light blues now, with Rupert Wingate-Saul tackled on the halfway line. Now with Jamie Shaw-Stewart, boasts Robert the Bruce as one of his ancestors. It's an exotic lineup to these varsity games. I remember we've had a descendant of William Wordsworth out there as well. Alfie Weston is tackled. 4 tackles gone for Cambridge. Well, at least they've salvaged a bit of pride with this second half comeback. And they could salvage a bit more here as Schroeder turns in the tackle and still going, Carl Schroeder. Oh, he very nearly, with that Mohican haircut, distinctive, very nearly got his way over the try line. The ball, not a good one, a wild pass, and it's a bit of a hit and hope kick. And it's still alive. Paddy Hunt trying to unload the ball. And the referee surely is going to call held in a minute. That'll be the turnover.
Turnover, 5 and left. Wait there.
Schroeder's worked hard tonight, you know, he deserved his try. His legs have been pumping. There's been 2 or 3 players on him nearly every time he's got the ball. Defended strong as well. And Paddy Hunt, it was on that occasion, just couldn't quite get the ball free.
So a let-off there for Oxford. They've done the hard work, I think, and as I mentioned earlier on before the game, big dinner in the main stand here at the Stoop, and entertaining the diners there was Phil Clark, who's emerged from the bar now to talk to Ben.
Phil, some jubilant Oxford fans behind you. The game really won in the first half.
Fantastic performance, I thought, from Oxford really in the first half, and I think that we've seen over the last few years a massively rise in the degree of skill level here. They made another break there on the back of this, and although we've seen a comeback really from Cambridge in the second half, as you would expect really, with the passion involved in this game, I just think Oxford are going to finish on a high.
They are going to finish on a high indeed. They're going to go in for another try. Plonked down. It was a great break from Will Avery that set up the chance for Hugh McCormick. And McCormick from Southampton, who once cycled from Oxford to Cambridge for charity in 19 hours. Well, he's put Cambridge on their bike now with that try that has wrapped up this victory. It was Smybert with the run.
Just a big, powerful run as they've been doing this second half. So playing that confidence, and Hugh McCormick just coming up here with a simple play. Look at that.
Great work from Avery.
But just having the vision out wide. Avery, as he takes the ball to the line, the short ball, just Hugh McCormick, the speed, just as he seems to do, the little flick pass, and it's enough for Oxford to finish with a flourish.
Tom Muir with another successful conversion. And 22-year-old Hugh McCormick, the try scorer. Muir with just a couple of misses tonight, and Oxford on target, 38 points to 10. It's going to cost somebody something here tonight.
I think it's about that time where I actually revealed the forfeit. We had agreed before the ball was kicked that the loser would have to wear. We're both on boots and all next Wednesday night, and we decided that the loser would have to wear some fishnet stockings underneath his suit.
Well, if I'm the loser, I best I'd go home quickly, take them off and wash them for next Wednesday in Barry.
Well, you can see whether Terry is wearing those.
What now?
Next Wednesday on Boots and All on Sky Sports 1, 6 o'clock. It'll be worth the wait. What a sense of anticipation is building up already.
He did want to wear the bra as well. He did say that there could be some underwear challenge, but I thought just the stockings would be enough.
Oh, he'll be quite happy with that, I'm sure.
Zero.
So Oxford are going to retain this trophy, the KJ Lee trophy, which goes to the winners.
But you know though, Bill, I know Oxford have won this game, but a fabulous occasion in Oxford and Cambridge playing this, and as I said before, you've got to credit these players that the way that they get up at 6:30 in the morning before lectures and go and do the training. That's how much they love our game.
That's dedication for you though, Tez. If you want to get anywhere in life, you need to be dedicated, and if you follow the example set by the sportsmen in our game in particular, then determination will be there in bucket loads.
The penalty given against, I think it was Danny O'Driscoll for a hand in that tackle. The clock counting down, and Oxford really on the strength of that first half performance, have retained the KJ Lee Trophy. They've won this 28th P-cubed varsity match in emphatic style. Cambridge at least redeeming themselves in the second half and avoiding the fate of being nilled. But it's the Oxford players who celebrate. James Batstone in the middle of it there. John Hobart in the yellow shirt joining in the celebrations. And there it's the dejected Cambridge side. James Shearman among his players. And what a night for these Dark Blues. They've worked long and hard for this. And so has the coach, Dan Garbutt, put a lot of effort into it. And he and his team have got their award tonight.
Dan, it was really won in that first half, a commanding performance by Oxford in that first period.
Yeah, definitely. Really, good performance. Lots of mistakes, lots of errors, really. You know, lots of drop ball. And I think that was the thing we were talking about half-time, is about that drop ball, and we were, trying to cut out those errors. But so I didn't think we had that in us. I thought that was quite good. Good performance.
Was it a bit harsh talking about the errors at half-time, given the lead you had going into the break?
Yeah, absolutely. But you've got to pick something out, haven't you? And I think there was too much good stuff, really. So I had to bring them down to earth. But they stuck with it, so it was good, really good.
I know you've been assistant in Oxford for a while as well. Just put into words how much it means to beat Cambridge in this fixture.
Yeah, no, it's massive. I mean, obviously it's huge for lads. You can see how happy they are at the minute, and it's massive for them. And see, I just heard Danny's obviously got the man of the match, and he's been a tremendous guy for the club, and it's great to see as well. So.
And 2 wins on the spin as well.
Yeah, really good, really pleased, and I think tonight's going to be good, and I think we'll enjoy ourselves, definitely.
Thanks very much. Danny, a man of the match performance from you, a win for Oxford. It doesn't come much better than that.
No, it's fantastic. We've been working really hard for the last few weeks, and it's a real privilege to play, so to win as well, it's been awesome. Yeah, it's great.
What sort of preparation changed this year? I know that you had some hit-outs in preparation for this. Was that the key, the preparation this time?
Yeah, I think so. We played some tough teams. We played the Harlequins Academy, and they really stretched us. So we've really improved on the defence in the last few weeks. And yeah, I think it showed tonight that we were difficult to get through. It's good.
And of course, in the Booster League, maybe didn't do yourselves justice there. Is that something that maybe you'll focus on for next year?
Yeah, definitely. As a club, we want to have a full season of good performances. So there's something to work on. And this is the first time we've really been able to get a full team out, and Sai's been playing as well. So yeah, really come together to get today.
Thanks very much. Well done.
Cheers. Thanks very much.
Oh, so Terry, you picked Cambridge. Feelings now?
Disappointed the way the lads have just been talking to the lads. Then they're very upset, obviously losing to the arch enemy Oxford. But you've got to be proud of the lads and both teams, the way that they played the game, and they just both wanted to win. And a lot of lads there, seen a couple of the Cambridge boys crying. It means that much to actually this game. But you got to credit Oxford. I thought the kicking game was sensational, and they played with that bit of vision. They looked up and they knew where to attack, and they just seemed to be attacking around the outside, the tight three of Cambridge, because Cambridge were very strong in the middle of the pitch, but they looked to get on the outside, and that's where they had all the trouble, Cambridge.
And as you've been in the camp this week, how impressed have you been with the standard of rugby league at this level?
It's been very good. The way the boys turn on, and I say 6:30 in the morning, the way they go into training, they love the game of rugby, and they've been very good. I think if you look back over the games over the years, that you'll see progressively they've got better and better and better. And I thought today was really exciting. There was a lot of play. There was a lot of expansive rugby, the offloads, there was some great collisions, and a lot of the players that really in rugby league landing on the front plate, getting a quick play of the balls, because normally rugby union players, they normally go in and they fall down to present the ball, but not the lads today. I thought they were exceptional.
But maybe Cambridge gave themselves too much to do in that second half.
Yes, they did, Ben. I think that the kicking game was a big factor. We needed to kick out to the edges, and that's where they seem to have a bit of luck with us, really. The Oxford halfbacks were really sensational tonight, the way that they guided the team around, and as I say, that vision and the looking up and seeing what's on the edges, that really worked for them tonight.
Thanks very much, Terry.
Cheers, Ben.
Well, Danny O'Driscoll receiving his Man of the Match award, and I think you'll agree with that one.
I thought he played really well. I thought Tim Carpenter pushed him quite close as well. He seemed to be involved in most good things. But the Cambridge side really played their part in tonight. And again, the passion and the commitment that these players have got, it's fantastic.
Well, dejected bunch of Cambridge players. It's like Oxford, they've put a lot of effort into preparing for this game. It's the one that matters. You can lose every game in the Busa, every build-up game in the Rugby League season, but if you win the varsity match, that is your season made. But not to be the case for this Cambridge side, who I think prided themselves, what we saw in training, doing the basics best, and maybe they fluffed their lines tonight.
Yes, Tez mentioned, and we talked about it a couple of times in commentary, the last players let them down. The finishes and the end to every set was probably, you know, the determining factor. And instead of starting the next set in a dominant position, unfortunately, it were a case of just risk damage, really.
Well, Ignacio Gonzalez Alonso getting his medal. Meanwhile, George Smybert leads his side up to receive the winners' medals on this P-cubed varsity night. And Paul O'Connor, well, he's made a big impression tonight, as did Will Avery did as well, with a real lively performance from hooker. In fact, you couldn't fault this Oxford side all the way through. Everybody contributed.
No, and I think a big factor was the bench. They had a lot of size and a lot of power on the bench, and just as people started to flag, just as players started to look like they needed a rest, Dan Harbutt could swap size for size, and that was important.
Charlie Morris there, one of the try scorers. Batstone, who really got Oxford underway with those two great breakaway tries, which I think gave them a bit of belief. They'd been under the cosh early on, but then those breakaway tries showed them that they could trouble this Cambridge defence, and that's what they certainly did. And bringing up the rear for this Oxford side, Simon Dewsbury, the big man, 6'6". Well, there was a lot of concern about whether his fitness would last and whether he would be able to contribute. You can see just how those knees are strapped together, but he's held together, and so have the Dark Blues. They've won it again, 2 years in a row now. And Simon Dewsbury knows more than most the pain of losing this. He's lost twice before. Well, he's a winner tonight, and I think the emotions certainly showing there on the face of the Oxford captain. And jubilation, and John Hobart joining the celebrations there. He's been involved. This is 13th varsity match, John Hobart. That is a real dedication to the cause of Rugby League. And joining the celebrations there. And it will be a considerable party, I would imagine.
Oxford being students and Oxford Rugby League being full of students, they certainly know how to have a good time. But John Hobart there, on the right of your screen in the yellow T-shirt, he's put a lot of work into making things like this happen. And Student Rugby League isn't just about the varsity match, but it's a really good showpiece for the actual sport.
So Oxford celebrating, but Cambridge left to pick up the pieces, and we can hear from their coach now, John Evans.
John, you were very sportingly clapping that trophy lift, but inside disappointment. But did the better team win, though?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think the first half, the first three tries where they got through our edges, our kicking game wasn't good enough. We had some field position, just didn't do the best with it. Then they got that quick try after half-time, and I could see the guys, the body language was telling stories that, you know, they felt a little bit deflated. So they gave it a good go. I think the really good thing about it is the way that they hung in, the fitness levels were good, and they got those two late tries, which shows a really good attitude that, you know, they wanted to stick in there. But all the plaudits are for Oxford tonight, I'm afraid. I mean, I've been at the other side of this in 2006 when we beat them 44-0, so I know how they felt then because I'm doing it right now.
And if it wasn't hard enough at half-time, that try first up in the second half really took it away from you.
Oh, well, I wouldn't say it took it away from us. I think the players possibly felt that. There was a long time to go, and 20 points can be recovered, but I think psychologically